The left-handed person that eats with the right hand cannot be forced to be right-handed. Welcome to Sign 12 of Section 2 of Chapter 4 of the Holy Quran. Chapter 4 being Surah An-Nisa, the surah devoted to women. Namshi. Walakum nisfu ma taraka azwajikum in lam yakun lahunna waladun in lam yakun lahunna waladun. Lahunna always refers to women. Hunna. Okay. In what your wives live, ma taraka azwajukum. In what your wives live, your share is half. Lakum nisfan. Lakum nisfu. Your share is half. If they leave no child. In lam yakun lahunna waladan. If they leave no child. فَإِنْ كَانَ لَهُنَّ وَلَدٌ فَلَكُمْ الرُّبُعُ مِمَّا تَرَكْنَ. But if they leave a child, ye get a fourth, ruba, a fourth. Yes, ru'ubu, not ru'uba, ru'ubu. Lakum ru'ubu mimma tarakunna min bagda wasiyatin yusina. Min bagda wasiyatin yusina biha aw dini. And debt. Ye get a fourth after payment of legacies and debts in what ye leave. Palakum ruba mimma taraka min bagda wasiyatin yusina biha aw dini walahunna arubu mimma tarakum in lam yakun lakum waladan. But after payment of legacies and debts, yes, in what they leave, their share is fourth. If you leave a child, if ye leave no child, but if ye leave a child, they get an eighth after payment of legacies and debts. Ruba mimman taraka in lam yakun lakum waladan, that if you do not leave a child. For in kana lakum waladan, that if you leave a child, falahunna athumnu. That's 1/8. Falakunna athumnu. But if ye leave a child, they get an eighth after payment of legacies and doubts. So without a child, if you don't leave a child, you get fourth. If you leave a child, you get 1/8. For in kana lakum waladun, falahunna athumnu. If you, the husband, leaves a child, then the wife gets 1/8. الثمن الثمن 1 مما ترك of what you leave من بعد وصية تسينا من بعد وصية تسون بها أو دين. I don't know if the best, yeah, here is tusina. Mimma tusina. Here is referring to female, so it's tusina. Mimma tusina biha awdini. Min bagda wasiyatin tusina biha awdini. وإن كان رجل يرث كلالة أو امرأة وله أخ. Oh, let me start from let me break and then know where to start. مما ترك من بعد وصية after paying legacies and doubts. Say legacies and debts after paying legacies and debts. وإن كان رجل يورث قليلة أو امرأة وله أخ أو أو أخت له أخ أو أخت فلكل واحد منهما السدوس. Let's stop there. If the man or woman whose inheritance is in question has left neither ascendants or descendants, but has left a brother or a sister, each one of the two gets a sixth. Asudusu get a sixth. Asudusu. But asudusu. Okay. فإن كانوا أكثر من ذلك فهم شركاء في الثلث. فهم شركاء في الثلث من بعد وصية يوصي بها أو دين غير مدار. Let's stop there. But if more than two, they share a third. If more than two, in Kana, where is it? فإن كانوا أكثر من ذلك. If more than two, إن كان أكثر فإن كانوا أكثر من ذلك, if more than two, they share a third. فهم شركاء في ثلث a third. They bear a third. من بعد وصية يوصي بها after paying legacies and debts. بها غير مدار وصية min Allah, غير مدار. Sorry, غير مدار. That's all. غير مدار. They share a third after payment of legacies and debt, so that no loss is caused to anyone. No loss is caused to anyone. To anyone is in brackets. So in other case here, it talks of not one person, not male, not female, but either of them, so that no loss uh, is caused into brackets to anyone. That's li غير مدار. غير مدار وصية. غير مدار sorry. غير مدار وصية من الله, without causing any, so that no loss is caused. And then the next is uh, Wallahu alimun alimun. And God is most forbearing. Let's go back a bit. Is caused to anyone loss. Thus is ordained by God. Thus is ordained by God. uh, Wasiyatun minan lie. Yeah. Wasiyatun minan lie. So after loss, there is a full stop there, or if you like, colon, and then follows, this then follows, thus is ordained by God. Wasiyatun meaning lie. The interpreters are doing well. It's not easy to interpret such things from Arabic to English. Mm. Uh, so ordained by God. Wallahu halimun. Wallahu alimun. Halimun. Wallahu alimun. Halimun. Alimun, knowing. Halimun, forbearing, all knowing, and most forbearing. Halimun, forbearing. Halimun. Uh, uh, let's go to the notes. We have notes 519. Of course, we did 518. All knowing, all wise. Now it is all knowing, all forbearing, all knowing, most forbearing. Now we are going to note 519, and thus their share is a fourth. Rubu, rubu, fourth, rubu, fourth, rubu. The husband takes a half of his deceased wife's property if he leaves no child. Sorry, if she leaves no child, pardon. If your wife dies and leaves no child, you, the husband, take half of her property. Well, I don't know how you compare it in English, Western laws. Western law means that your property is your wife's property, and your wife's property is yours. It's not so in the Quran. Okay. The husband takes a half of his deceased wife's property if she leaves no child. The rest going to residuaries. The rest going to residuaries. You know what residuaries are? Akrabuna, that's nearby relatives, maybe people present at the sharing and whatnot, orphans and whatnot. So the rest go to residuaries. Semicolon. If she leaves a child, the husband gets only a fourth. Full stop. Following the rule that the female share is generally half the male share, the widow gets a fourth of her husband's property if he leaves no child, and an eighth if he leaves children. So when your wife dies and doesn't doesn't without leaving any child, you get half. You, the husband, gets half. If she leaves children, you get a fourth. On the other hand, if a husband dies leaving no child, the wife gets a fourth and not half. And if the husband has children before dying, she gets 1/8 and not 1/4. Simple. Like it or not, that's what God has ordained. Maybe if you follow such things, there wouldn't be a lot of wrangling between families concerning inheritance because we have accepted that idea as normal or status quo, if you like. Mm. Okay, and an eighth if he leaves children. So the wife will get an if the husband leaves children, but a fourth if the husband dies without children. If there are more widows than one, if there are more widows, one actor min zalika wa in actor min zalika wa fa in kana akthara min zalika. Mm. If if there are more widows than one, their collective share is a fourth or an eighth, as the case may be. Mm. So, if uh, the if the husband leaves uh, more than one wife, mm, more than one wife, their collective share is a fourth or an eighth, as the case may be. Interse, they divide equally. Interse is in italics, maybe Latin, I don't know. Mm. So interse, INTER. Then uh, space, then SE. Interse in italics, they divide equally. And that is note 519 to sign 12. Uh, yes, there is sign 120. There is note 520, a second note to 12, to sign 12. I don't know if there are two signs or one. Let me check. Sign 120. Oh, there are more than two. We have sign 520 as the second one, then 21, then 22, then 22, and it ends there. So there are four notes to sign 12. Let's see. Four notes to sign 12. Let's go to the second note. Sign 520 is against descendant. Mm, other descendants. No. Left either ascendants or descendants. Either ascendants or descendants. 520. The word in Arabic is kalalat. Is kalalat. So kalalat is ascendants, or descendants, which is so construed usually, but it but it was nowhere defined, authoritatively in the lifetime of the messenger. Full stop. This was one of the three terms about which Hadrat Umar wished that the messenger had defined them in his lifetime. So the messenger died before that, unfortunately. Mm. Uh, in his lifetime, the other two being the share of grandfather. Mm. Had defined them in his lifetime. The other two being the share of grandfather, and riba usury, yuba into brackets usury, and riba into brackets usury, full stop. On the accepted definition, we are concerned with the inheritance of a person who has left no descendant or ascendant, however distant, however distant is in brackets, however distant, full stop, but only collaterals, comma, with or without a widow or widower. If there is a widow or widower surviving, she or he takes the share as already uh, defined before the collaterals come in. So woman taking half what man should take. Woman taking half what man should take. Already defined before the collaterals come in. And that is note 520. We now go to note 521. Note 521. Pardon me. Pardon me. We now go to note 521. And it's against leaving a brother or sister. Note 521. A brother or sister, in double inverted commas, a brother or sister is here interpreted to mean a uterine brother or sister. To mean a uterine brother or sister. Uterine brother or sister here may mean, I believe it means people from the same womb. Uterine, from the same mother. In other words, people from but father or sister of the same mother. May mean a uterine brother or sister, i.e., a brother or sister by the same mother. Yes, i.e., a brother or sister by the same mother, but not by the same father, as the case of full brothers and sisters, or brothers and sisters by the same father but different mothers, is understood to be dealt with later in the last verse of this surah, which I believe we have read already. We shall repeat it when we get there, God willing. In the last verse of this surah, full stop. The uterine brother or sister, if only one survives, takes a sif, semicolon. If more than one survive, they take a third collectively. They take a third and share amongst themselves. They take a share collectively and divide, okay, it's even explained here, and divide among themselves. Semicolon. This on the supposition, this on the supposition that there are no descendants or ascendants. Ascendants, I think grandparents, great grandparents whose like likelihood of being present is rather small. There are no, except when one dies by accident or one dies young. Uh, Supposition that there are no descendants or ascendants, however remote, yeah, however remote. There may, however, be a widow or widower surviving, colon. She or he takes her or his share as already specified. So viewers, if you take time, you will see that there is not complexity in it. It's the writing that is complex, but looking at it, easy to understand or not so difficult to understand. Okay, second paragraph. The shares of collaterals generally are calculated on a complicated system which cannot be described in a brief note. Okay, complication still comes in. Hmm? Yes, that's it. Complication still comes in. So complex. Hmm? I'm not saying it is the commentator that is saying it. uh, which cannot be described in a brief note, full stop. For these and the rules about residuaries, into brackets, ASABA, into bracket, ASABA, or I think ASABA, into brackets, ASABA. Let me read without the brackets. For these, the rules about residuaries reference, the residuaries reference should be made to special legal treaties. Should be made to special legal treaties. So complexity or of it cannot be eliminated. It's still complex. Somewhere on the way it's complex. And I believe even Western laws is complex. Mm. But I don't know which is more complex. I think this is more acceptable if only we were to follow it, if we only were to adapt it. That's note 521. We now go to note 522, so that no loss is caused, into brackets, to anyone. I don't know if I can find it here. Uh, if I'm able to find it, fine. If I'm not able to find it, wasiyan wa dini. Geri mudarin. Geri mudarin. Wasiyatun minallahi. Geri mudarin. Wasiyatun minallahi. That is so Geri mudarin. So that no loss is caused. 522. Deaths, into brackets, in which funeral expenses take first rank. In which funeral expenses take first rank is in brackets. Without it reads, deaths and legacies are the first charge on the estate of a deceased person before distribution takes place. So when somebody dies, first of all, it's still happening in Muslim communities. People ask around, did he owe anybody? Did he owe anybody? People may come out to say, yes, he owed me money, he took this, and then they will organize, pay the fellow. Even before burying him, I believe, if they can, before burying him, if they can, I believe. Okay, so this is a practice left over by the prophet all the time, by the era of the prophet. Distribution takes place before a diseased person, before distribution takes place, yes. Full stop. But equity and fair dealings should be observed in all matters so that no one's interests are prejudiced. Let me go back a bit. So when somebody dies, people are mourning. The one the dead body owes might even be so sad he won't own up. He feels shy to own up to say, oh, he took this and that from me, even though he's dead. They may be friends, they may be relations, they might, and then when he died, so the friend or relation or whatever doesn't feel like coming to say, oh, he owed me £100 before dying. He might just keep quiet. Well, I don't know. Okay, interests are prejudice, full stop. Thus, funeral expenses should be reasonable, semicolon. Deaths must be genuine, okay, deaths must be genuine and not reckless deaths. And the shares must be calculated with fairness. So, in any system, there are complexities because of man's nature. Truths, half truths, tampering with truth. whatnot come in. You see, people may know the man owed $100. The creditor may come out to say, oh, it was 200, 300, whatnot. So in God's matters, there is always the fear of God, of Him, God. And the shares must be calculated with fairness. That's note 522 to sign 13. Note 522. Did we do 521? Yes, we did 521. We did 521. And then that is the fourth and last note to that sign 12, not sign 13. That's 5 2. That's the last note to sign 12 of chapter 4 of the Holy Quran. We shall halt here. Again, we did only one sign, one verse, because of the complexity of the case. All right. When we come back in our next video, we shall go to sign 13. Thank you very much. Bye bye. May God be with you all.